Welcome back, guys. Deathbringer here. So this is part 5, the Farron jeep. So after the exceptional level design of the Cathedral of the Deep, you can come to this area. You can also come right after the Crucifixion Woods, I think. Yes. But the poison is an indicator that you shouldn't, and there are a lot of other factors on why you should do the Cathedral of the Deep first. But again, FromSoft lets you do whatever you want. So you can come here first, fight the Abyss Watchers, go even further to the catacombs, go even further to the lake below the catacombs, and then you should stop and be like, oh, I can't go into Irithul, so I have to go back. But usually most people will go to the cathedral first, because after the Crystal Sage boss fight, there's the path that leads to the cathedral. And also, pretty much no one wants to face poison early on. So anyway, the gimmicks of this area. This area introduces you to the swamp, pretty much expansion on what you saw in the Crucifixion Woods. We have the swamp, we have a lot of poison, expands on the poison of the Cathedral of the Deep, but here you pretty much can't avoid it. Well, you can avoid it, but it will be pretty much annoying. Or you have to do my tactic and spam purple blossoms, but not many people... purple moss, sorry, but not many people have that at the early levels, and I pretty much get why. You have to spend a lot of souls to get them. So anyways, the first gimmick is the swamp, which is pretty much there to put pressure on you, nothing more. Just to put the pressure of that your time is precious, that you have to really think about what you're doing in this area, because early on you don't have so many S2s, and you have to be really careful. So in that regard, this is one of the harder areas early on, and pretty much hypes up the Abyss Watchers fight, which is quote-unquote the first arc of the game, which is where the first arc of the game ends. So we pretty much have info for the Abyss Watchers and the Aldrich by now. So anyway, the second gimmick is that you have to not light exactly, you have to stop 3 towers, like you have to put the fire out of 3 towers, yeah. So you pretty much put in a situation that you're in a weird area, that it seems vast, and it's very easy to get lost to, and time, as I said, is really pressure in this area. So all these things add up. Like the first time you play this area is gonna be a lot of harder than the other times. So all these things add up on themselves, but the developers were nice enough to give you 2 of the 3 towers for free. Yeah, 2 of the towers are kinda free, because if you follow the path that has no poison on, which is pretty nice, you can go to the 2 of the towers just for free. And also I think after the second, there's the bonfires, so you pretty much get rewarded for following the easier path. Yet again, one of the From Software's principles, like the easier way is the right way to progress, and if you want optional stuff, you have to get out of your way to find them, and the challenge is gonna be a lot harder. So these enemies of the area, I think they have a waste potential. Well, not exactly. Well, the thing is, they have poison weapons, so if you don't get poisoned from the swamp, and you have, let's say you're half about to get poisoned, these enemies with 2 or 3 attacks will get you poisoned, so they're pretty much there to clean up, you can say, or make sure you get the poison buff for the pressure. Like, From Software really thought about that. Also, that enemy right here, one of the hardest enemies of the game. I think they pretty much nerfed them by this patch. They were a lot of harder in the release. These enemies are really aggressive, have weird hyper armor, grab attacks, and all in all a really hard enemy. So that's why I think there is only one instance in the whole game that you can see two of them, and it's not in this area. So pretty much see that also that's the kind quote-unquote dog enemy of the area. Not so hard to kill them off. By the way, daggers and quickstep will do you wonders in this area. So here we see the fat rolling mechanic that pretty much expands on the deep water in the upper swamp in the Crucifixion Woods, but now it's pretty much mandatory if you want to go to some of the optional stuff. Also, lighting gets an AoE in the swamps and water areas, so that's nice for all those faith builds, but excuse me, it's not impossible to have a faith build by now. So yeah, you pretty much can have a faith build by now. So maybe a weak faith build, but still you can have some miracles to abuse the swamp and pretty much kill many enemies really easily. So anyway, we're not here for the loot, we're here to just kill all the enemies of the area. So I was just saying, this area later expands on the gimmicks of the Crucifixion swamp and adds some gimmicks of its own. So hard enemies, the weird hyper armor enemy we faced off, the first introduction to dark wraiths, really hard enemy too, like individually hard. Those enemies are not so hard like the ones with like the regular enemies with the dagger and the spear. They pretty much have some attacks that if you get caught on, you will get poisoned very easily. Like I think it's 6 hit combo attacks. So if you panic roll, you will get poisoned. Also, the quote-unquote mage of this area has the zoning poison spell, which will inflict you poison really quickly if you're not paying attention. And it has, I think it has a miracle too, but it's very rare to see him using the miracle. So anyway, moving on, the second bonfire, I really wish that this bonfire wasn't there. Maybe I'm asking too much. How can I say it? Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe the bonfire at the start of the area shouldn't be. I don't know, like you have enough Estus to move forward, and it's very hard to get lost at the first part. Like after this second bonfire, yeah, you can get lost pretty easily, but in the first two towers, as I said, are free. So finding the second bonfire is also free if you move forward, just you have to move forward along the path. Here in an optional zone, again the giant gimmick will help you here. Using quick step to avoid the crab, so I can go closer to the tree. Classic tactics, the usual. Yeah, you can parry the crab actually. Dodging that. Using some purple moss to fend the poison off. I'm sure I'm getting hit. Oh, I'm getting the riposte. Nice. So anyway, I was saying, pretty interesting area. The first time you go around, it's gonna be a lot harder. The second time you play the game, it's gonna be somehow easier, because you will know what you're doing. So this area difficulty plays a huge part on your knowledge of the game. If you don't know what you're doing, this area is gonna be very hard for you. But if you know what's going on, then it's no biggie. There are a lot of secrets in this area to be found, and there's a lot of pain getting them on the first playthrough, because as I say, limited Estus and stuff like that. So here we will clean this group up pretty easily. The bleed will do it for us. Just take the aggro. Excuse me. So anyway, taking the aggro, really easy to just kill these enemies off one by one. Those enemies have that weird attack where the shield is up. They get some kind of invisibility, not invisibility frames, not exactly, you could say it's hyper armor frames. I don't know, sometimes it bugs out, and when you should stun them, they won't get stunned, and you get the hit. So, anyway, here we'll see a group of 3 again. Remember guys, optional area, the screams optional stuff. So you see a group of 3, and if you just ride mantles in there, you're gonna get killed very easily, because these enemies actually hit pretty hard. So these enemies have kind of a free pressure filter, you can say. They spawn those skulls that they pretty much won't do much damage to you, but they serve as a way to make you panic roll, so he can roll cut you with his weapon. And again, you will see that these enemies here are a lot of easier, like these guys are a lot easier than the guys we will face later, which have, yet again as discussed, the smart AI tactics that they will use their better attacks more. Bleed is very effective against them, so that's a plus. Also they have this Wrath of a Gods attack, kind of. I don't know what type of damage that attack does. I haven't tested. Maybe it does magic damage. Also I don't know what the skulls do. So anyway, 2 of them down. Let's go to get the 3rd one. It's really easy to die from those enemies. I think 3 hits will take me out from full health, maybe even 2. It depends. Yeah, you see the damage. Holy shit, it's absurd. Have to be really careful, especially that attack. It seems like I'm in a bad spot, but actually the trees help them kite them around. So anyways, this area is more interesting than the Crucifixion Wood Swamp, because it's really easy to get lost to. As I said again, this area is one of those areas that will force you to landmark things, and maybe it's one of the few areas of the game that the little stones are useful to mark things. But who does that, right? Who does that? Most people think that the primitive stones are useless, but in this kind of areas they are very useful, I have to say. Again, these enemies are kind of a punish if you drop down from the three guys above. Really smart from software, but I have to say that this area turns down the whole ambush thing. Like, yes, you have to face enemies, but the main theme of this area is the level. Like, the level tries to kill you more than the enemies. The enemies are much more spread out. They're getting aggroed really hard. Yet again, here you see this is quote unquote kind of an ambush, but not exactly. Like, you can see that there are so many enemies inside, and there are 4 ways to get in and out. Like, if it was a single way, then I should consider it a trap. But there are 4 ways. The loot in this place is really useful. I think it's an Estus shard, maybe. I don't remember exactly. So anyway, clear these enemies off. Not so hard. And you pretty much, after you clear the 2 towers, you're pretty much in search of the 3rd one. So the 2nd bonfire serves as the main bonfire of the area, like your main option. But a very weird thing is that after the 2nd bonfire there is another bonfire up in the stairs, and you might argue that not many people will gonna take the after this ladder. Sorry, they're not gonna take this ladder, but pretty much when you're in an area like this, it screams to go higher, just to scout the area around. So I argue that most of the people would take the ladder. And I argue that the bonfire up there kinda in a way destroys the whole point of the central bonfire of this area. I don't know, maybe that bonfire there is just to serve for a quick get around to the Covenant items. Maybe From Software did that in this game, that each Covenant has a bonfire close by even if it was not needed. But I digress, it doesn't harm the area that much. And also the area above is a little nice optional area, which are gonna go right now. So you can see as you climb up, you get a better view of the swamp. In the release date it was so much worse, like the swamp had so many extra trees, it was kinda laggy, it was much more difficult to find your way around. But they toned down the trees so much that it's much easier now to find your way, and also make the area easier for newer players, but also make the game easier to render more stuff. So, oh, by the way, in this area you can get invaded by 2 NPCs. I think they're pretty much dead because I failed the challenge yet again. Here you can have a little mini boss fight, a throwback to Dark Souls 1, but you can also go to this optional area right here for some secrets, some miracles and stuff. And you can also get a very good view, so you pretty much can see from here where the third tower is. This area pretty much serves that purpose, to see where you are when the third tower is, just for a more clear hint on where you should go. So anyway, this is an ambush, of course, using the cluster razor to go up. We see some Lothric hollows, and we will also, here is the gimmick of the lantern from the first area of the game. So FromSoft mixes things up in this optional area. So if you try and go for the crystal razor, you can pretty much die very quickly by the hollows that wake up. Blade pretty useful on these enemies. So it's no biggie, like if you know what you're doing and if you know the ambush, yet again, the whole From Software ideology. If you know the ambush is coming, you can pretty much clear it out. So we are missing one guy, we're gonna get him. I think he used the Estus, yeah. I would kinda like that they pumped up the Estus rating on these enemies. Also, this pretty much confirms that the regular soldiers of the Lothric were undead. So, and they were using Estus in battles. Imagine that, imagine fighting a kingdom like that. Anyway, Silver can't drink to avoid that. Maybe I have to update the rules again. So pretty much killing that guy is out of the challenge, cause it will be pretty much meaningless, cause you can legit just, like, the challenge won't tell you where to start. You can start anywhere you want, so you can pretty much start in this bonfire, rush him, die as many times as you want, and when you kill him you can do the challenge. And even if you fail the challenge, you can be like, you know what, he won't respond, so it's meaningless to have him in the challenge. And also it will make the challenge extremely hard if you try to fight him at the end. Like, you have to clear the whole swamp, which, as you can see, it took me half an hour to do it, and then you get a chance to fight him, and he pretty much has a move that throws you out of the bridge, so if you're not careful you can die pretty easily, and then you have to reset the whole challenge yet again, and it's no fun. Like, the purpose of the challenge is to test your endurance, but in a fair way. Like, fighting that guy, like, even if he doesn't do the grab move, even if he hits you, he can pretty much make you waste 2 Estus. So at the end of the challenge you might have 1 or 2 Estus at best. Well, if you're a god you will have all of them, but come on, the challenge should be fun, not extremely hard. If you want an extremely hard challenge, just do the 0 damage level 1 run, I think it's called. Or maybe the no damage run, that I think only 2 or 3 people have done it. This is more of a learn PV kind of endurance challenge. Just learn the level and the layout. So, in some parts it's harder, but I don't think it's as hard as the overall as the no damage challenge. Like the no damage challenge, and it's in a whole other level of difficulty. So yet again, using the bleed for these enemies. So I think maybe it's this one or the next guy with the smart movement AI. Let me see. Maybe it's the next one. Avoid that. Still don't know the exact range of that. Avoid that too. Here I'm getting greedy. Yeah. Getting greedy. So do that, and he's dead. So I'm also kind of disappointed that these guys, you don't find them in other areas, and you don't get their weapon or armor or anything. They're just there. I don't know. They seem demonic-like, but at the same time you don't find them as smoother and like. So anyway, here I'm just thinking where I should go. So switching back to the quick step so we can traverse the swamp faster. So the third tower is pretty much like, if you think about it, going from the first to the second tower, going from the starting point to the first tower, pretty much very easy to go, no poison at all. First to second, not so bad yet again, some poison but not so bad. Second to third, you're pretty much guaranteed to get poisoned, and also there is an ambush if you go blindly. Like, there are two ways to go about it, and none of them is a safe way from these guys. So there are two ways to go about it, and both of them have these guys. But there's a third way to go, and that is from the starting area all around, but it's really hard for a new player to do that. Like, you can go all around, you will see what way I'm talking about. So anyway, killing that guy yet again easily. The bleed very effective for these guys. And as you can see, I'm switching to the silence ring and the hornet ring, because we have to kill another enemy. We have to kill the weird hyper armor one, which is very deadly, by the way. The aesthetic of this area is also beautiful. I really like that. It really shows how toxic and rotten this place is. Those fires, maybe they're going to expand on the fire thing more, I don't know. They're just for aesthetics, but I wish they could implement something more. So that's the third tower here. Pretty much can clear that. And you don't even have to face that guy. They don't force you to face him. Like, if you take the sneaky way around, you have to. But if you fight the two big guys in the swamp, they're like, you know what, you did enough, so you can't proceed. That's a really nice way from Soft to change the playstyle of the players, but at the same time we all know that you will try and do everything, because in these games you kinda want to explore everything. So these enemies here, my build kinda counters them, because the higher luck you have, the higher resistance you have in curse, so plus it's really easy to bleed them, and the quick step really serves you well. So yet again, the theme keeps coming back. If you know what you are doing, this area is gonna be a lot of easier. Like, the first time I went around this area, I didn't know that the quick step can serve you well in the swamp. So this area was, holy shit, it was so hard for me. Like, and also the first time you don't know where things are, so I would get lost a lot. Then I will kinda run out of S2, so I have to use a bone to go back to the bonfire, then everything respawns. Like, this area the first time you go about it, it's the first area of the game that will test your endurance. Like legit, it will test your patience. So you can argue that this area is harder than the Cathedral of the Deep. So, and even harder than the Undead Settlement, but only the first time. Well, you can say that to the Undead Settlement too, if you find the bonfire, like if you search it up. But yeah, the first time around this area is really brutal. A lot of new players will have problem in this area, and I think most of them won't discover all the secrets. They would be like, you know what, let's move on, I hate poison. So pretty much you can go that way. We are going here from the starting bonfire. Yeah, you can come here from the starting bonfire if you want, and it's gonna be really hard. It's gonna be really hard the first time around. But if you do it, you get a free pass on the hardest tower of the area, which is really nice. Like, FromSoft will reward you. Like, if you choose to find another way around, they will reward you if you pay attention. Also, you get invaded here, which is another pain in the ass. So they punish you if you have embers yet again, which most of the people will have, because you just finished the Cathedral of the Deep boss, so the first time around you will be embered. And also if you want to do the quest of the invader, I think it's the yellow finger, yeah, you have to be embered and you have to kill him, which is really hard in this area. I think he won't get poisoned, unlike you. So anyway, everything is cleared. Now we're moving on. So after you cleared the 3 towers, the area gets so much simpler, so pretty much hypes up the Abyss Watchers boss fight. Things get a lot simpler. You can go down. Look at that guy up here. Like if you move forward, and then you can find the path to him. So you can't consider that photograph. If you are foolish enough to just walk there, it's very easy for you to get killed, because the mage up there will just wake up those guys. And as we all know, when those guys grow wings, they become really aggressive, and it's really easy to die from them if you do even the slightest of mistakes. So moving on, here you get introduced yet again to the Dark Wraiths. If you didn't go and kill the optional one, it's the first time you see them, and there is actually 2 of them. But a real fun gimmick of this small area is that the Dark Wraiths will attack the other enemies. So here I'm trying to draw one of them, I think. Yeah, they will attack the other enemies, and actually in the new game plus they will kill them all. But in the new game, I think one of them is pretty much guaranteed to die, so you're left with the other one. So pretty much this area is not actually a challenge, pretty much kind of quote unquote a cinematic. If you wait around, you can look at two different functions fighting themselves. The Dark Wraiths that pretty much are the first invaders, and they came from the Abyss, I think, yes, and the Abyss Watchers. So the Dark Wraiths want to go and kill the Abyss Watchers that pretty much stop the spread of the Abyss. So here we find one Dark Wraith. The Scythe counters them pretty well, I have to say. They have a lot of moves. They have hyper armor, even though they're using a straight sword. They have fast moves, they have a grab. Overall, Dark Wraiths can pretty much kill you really easily. And also in the new game plus 7, the grab move instantly kills you. So yeah. Moving on, I'm just making sure that everything is dead. There's a hidden mage around here, just doing that. The Dark Wraiths keep killing on things. We just go up to make sure that everything is dead. Oh, there's the spear guy right here. Kill that too. I was talking about this move, yeah. Just put up his shield and instantly attacks when he should be getting stunned. Another guy dead. And that guy too, with a dagger. So pretty much this area is nothing of more a cinematic yet again, just to hype up the boss watcher boss fight. And yeah, the Dark Wraith is dead, so we just have to kill that guy. Guard broken, doesn't even matter. Yeah, thanks you for the cracked arrow bombs. Yeah, paying some respect. So anyway, we're soon gonna finish the area off. Overall, a pretty interesting area. The whole gimmick of this area is to just learn to pay attention on the environment. The area pressures you more and more, like the time is really pressures on this area, and if you don't pay attention, you're gonna get punished severely, and you have to start over and over again, because most of the times you don't know where you went, or you don't know where your stuff went. So yeah, this area pretty much tests the player at that. It's the first area that so much heavily on tests the player's ability to pay attention to his environment. But the second time around, and if you know what you're doing, this area is gonna feel a lot way easier than it was. So anyway guys, see you next time. Peace.